Let's go to some sport now. The British and Irish Lions coach Warren Gatland, Kiwi, lest we forget, will field the same starting 15 this week in the deciding match against the All Blacks on Saturday night. Joining us now is our excellent rugby reporter, Joe Porter. You've got a little sparkle in your eyes, Joe Porter, because this is exciting.
Absolutely.
And Warren Gatland has been kind of throwing the cat amongst the pitches today, isn't he? He's talking up the stress on the All Blacks.
Oh yes, absolutely. He's saying all the pressure on Saturday night is going to be on the All Blacks, and there's an element of truth there. The British and Irish Lions fans, if they won, it would be one of their most famous victories, and of course they would erupt and the city would be drunk dry. However, they're not necessarily expecting a win. They've already got one, surprisingly they thought, in the bag. So the pressure is on the All Blacks, the two-time world champions, to maintain what is this perfect record of series since 1971. If they were to lose, it would be a huge black mark against Steve Hansen and this current All Blacks book. So they will not be wanting to lose. Gatland's absolutely right. The pressure is on the All Blacks. He also says the Lions haven't even scratched the surface of their potential, which is a fairly stark warning heading into this weekend's game. However, I think that might be a little bit of trumpeting there because, let's be honest, we know what the Lions are going to bring this weekend. It's going to be the same as last weekend. So we'll see what happens.
He does make a good point, doesn't he? In 2005, the All Blacks won the second test by it was Dan Carter's greatest ever, I think, game, right?
Yeah.
He was sublime. And so we went to the third test with 2-zip, dead rubber. This feels so different.
Oh, it
and
does.
it's so exciting. So what are the All Blacks saying about all of this?
Well, Steve Hansen's made some pretty big calls considering the nature and the size of this occasion. He's throwing in rookie backs, Nganu, Laumape and Jordie Barrett to start for their very first test. They've only played one test each before this, coming off the bench. You talk about getting thrown in the deep end. It's your first test start. You're facing the British and Irish Lions at Eden Park in front of 50,000 fans. Lions. You can just imagine the pressure cooker situation at a packed Eden Park. But it's also going to be a special night for a trio of brothers on this All Blacks side, and it should be fantastic for the Barrett brothers. Youngsters Jordie Barrett and Nganu Laumape will be confronted with a tribe of Lions fans baying for All Black blood on Saturday night. Barrett is just 20 years old, but coach Steve Hansen believes he has what it takes to handle the baptism of fire.
He's very good aerial, so they're going to give us plenty of high ball to catch. He's a good defender. He's a very skillful rugby player. And do we have confidence? Yeah, we do. We wouldn't have picked him in the first place if we didn't. And whatever he does on Saturday is just the beginning. He's just going to get better and better. He comes from a fairly good stock, so I'm picking he'll go all right.
That stock is the inimitable Barrett bloodline. Jordie's father Kevin, a Hurricanes lock, famously announced on retirement that he was off to breed some All Blacks. First five Bowden and Jordie Barrett will start this weekend with another brother, Lock Scott, on the bench. With three brothers set to take the field together for the All Blacks, Jordie reckons it's a family first.
I've only ever played with Bodie against Scott, so I've never been on the same team, even in junior rugby. So it'll be a cool moment if it happens.
The Barrett clans certainly aren't short on numbers, and Hansen says there's plenty of sibling rivalry.
They've got their own gags and they've got their own nicknames for each other, and I heard one this morning and I said to Bowden, I said, what did you call your brother that for? He said, oh, that's the guy out of Dumb and Dumber. So, you know.
Nicknamed Udon by Bowden for his resemblance to the long, thin noodle, Jordie, as the youngest, cops most of the brotherly banter, though he's not the only Barrett to bear the brunt of an unwanted moniker.
Oh, it's an old nickname, but it came out this morning, and he said, what's that? I said, Lloyd. And it's not Jordie's, it's obviously Scott's. Yeah.
While Bowden is quick to dish out the ribbing, Jordie's kept in line by some thinly veiled threats.
No, I've never called him anything differently.
Very respectful younger brother.
Yeah, there was some repercussions if I called him something else, so I just kept it Bowden or Bodie.
And Bodie says Mum Robin, who the Barrett boys hold dear to their heart, will be clutching at hers from the stands on Saturday night.
She'll be pretty nervous, I think, but she all likes to have the boys home and the girls all at once. It's pretty special when we all get together, but they'll be up again this weekend, nervously excited as usual.
As will All Blacks fans, who are hoping the Barrett boys put to bed any notions of an historic Lions win. In Auckland for Checkpoint, Joe Porter.
And Joe Porter is still in Auckland for Checkpoint because he's still sitting beside me in the studio. But it was a nice sign-off, Joe, and we enjoyed it. But it's lovely to still have you here. So let's look at the first test. You picked team and margin, uncannily.
Yes.
Second test you picked it would be tight, and you were right, but you picked the wrong team.
I did.
Yeah, and I don't think you're alone in that. So what are you picking in the third test?
Look, aggression and anger are the key words here, and anger management. The All Blacks are furious after what happened last week. The forwards were furious at the niggle. There was a tussle in the tunnel on the way out. There's no love lost between these two teams, and I could see it in Jerome Kaino's eyes last week. He wants to smash these guys. So if they can control that aggression, match it with their high-tempo, high-intensity game, I really do think the All Blacks will put the Lions to the sword this weekend.
Ooh.
The Lions are really going to have to come out and even go up again from the physicality they've showed. The All Blacks will take confidence, of course, from maybe almost winning last week with 14 men. I think in the last 20 minutes, this All Blacks team could run away with it this weekend. However, if they come out and get penalised early and the ref gets on they get on the bad side of the ref, that could change things.
And if the youngsters get overawed by the occasion, although by golly, as a Hurricanes man, I rate that Laumape. I think he's a fantastic player.
Yeah, and you're right. Jordie, Barrett and Nganu Laumape are in for a test, and they'll get plenty of high balls sent their way. But if they can just play their game plan and play their roles, I think in the last 20 minutes the All Blacks will run away. I think they'll put 15 points on the Lions this weekend.
Oh, I hope you're right. What a great series, though, eh?
Oh, it's been brilliant.
Fantastic. Joe Porter, you've done a brilliant job covering it. Thank you very much indeed. Lovely job being a rugby reporter, eh? If you like rugby, there's some people listening who are thinking they couldn't think of anything worse.